What I wanted to talk about today is in reference to some questions I've gotten about what happens when we die. Where do we go? People have asked it because they've read a lot and heard a lot about people like Dolores Cannon and Dr. Newton about the past life regression, the hypnosis, and the information that has come out of that, the in between live scenarios and the lights and all that kind of thing. And so they were wondering as to what I've experienced and what my thoughts were on that. So I wanted to cover that. So I've done the past life regression, um, and it was a very interesting and very emotional experience at the time because of what I saw. The one thing I did not see that a lot of the others talk about, and that is the concept of seeing your friends and your family when you move through. I didn't see the light that everyone talks about, the so-called tunnel. I didn't go the in-between lives. It was none of that for me. I didn't experience any of those kind of programs. I did see my spirit guide, but I later on have learned that the spirit guide is actually me. It's the aspect of me that has stayed out of the physical realm. Therefore, I was seeing myself. I wasn't seeing anyone else. What I believe happen, well, what I know happens when people who have the past life regression, they go into the hypnosis. When they start seeing their friends and their family, when they start going to the in between lives and the concept to where they're planning for their next life, they're basically standing around holding hands, singing kumbaya, everything is great, everybody's happy, and they're having experiences. What I think that is the default program, because you have to remember that within ourselves, on this reality, within our DNA, there are a lot of default programs, which is why we see this reality the way we do. And I think that those default programs also extend to the things that we see when we supposedly die, near death experience with hypnosis, when we're taken back to those kind of those points. We, unless we have knowledge otherwise, in other words, unless we have a knowing from another direction, another angle, we're going to see what is the basic default programming. And that is the going towards the light sometimes, seeing the friends and family. It's the in-between lives where everybody sits around and holds hands and you learn lessons and you find out what you're doing and you make up for your next life and so on. That is the default programming in order to get people shifting their awareness back into the same reality from which they just came out of. Um, that happens if you have not understood or learned otherwise. Uh, my experience of what happened is that you your your beliefs, your understanding at the time of your death, the attraction that you have to things on this world, the connections, the contacts that you have that you're not ready to let go of, the thoughts that you have, the fears, the believing in the sin and the karma that you have to come back, that you haven't completed the process, that you need to do more to do your ascension. Any of those kind of concepts are programs that are designed to have you shift your awareness back to here. And that's exactly what happens. When you have an understanding and when you know that you don't have to do that, when you understand that there is no reason for you to come back here by knowing that you don't have to, is really all you have to do, that you have the ability to move back to your, what we would call your higher self, which is the subconscious aspect of yourself. You have a right to exist outside of this reality. I had the experience of being able to go to this tunnel of light. This was another time when I was doing it myself, and I was able to um, go to this so-called tunnel of light to see what was there, and there was absolutely nothing there. There was nobody. There was nothing there other than light. And from that light, I went out of that light to what I would call nothingness, which of course nothing is something because it exists. And what I now understand that nothingness is my subconscious, because I existed at that point, but there was no need to have proof or anything of existing. So the that point was simply returning to my subconscious self, that higher aspect that we call our spirit self. So you can do that if you choose to, but it's a matter of working past and getting through the programs that you've accepted in this reality. what's also kind of interesting is I read the book, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and their basic understanding in there is very similar to what I've experienced, and that is that they're talking about what you are thinking and believing and accepting at your time of death is what's going to happen. It's going to dictate what happens to you when you leave this reality. And they, within their context, they want their shamans, their gurus, their preachers, whoever it is they are at the time, they want them to be present when somebody's getting close to leaving so that they can talk to them and they can help direct them and guide them in order so they don't have to keep cycling back through this program again. So it's a little bit of a confirmation on what information I've been given and my own experiences. And so what it comes down to essentially is what your beliefs are at the time of your death is going to determine what happens to you after that point of death when you leave your physical body, where your awareness, where it's going to shift to. And you do have the ability to shift out of the incarnation cycle once you get to the point where you understand that you no longer have to keep coming back. And remember, things like fears, regrets, attachments, those are all things that are going to bring you back here because you do not, on some level inside of yourself, want to leave and you haven't let go. So until you're able to let go of this reality and accept that there's no reason, that nothing here is real to begin with and nothing here is going to matter, until you're able to do that and just let go, and that includes people, you're going to keep yourself essentially recycling through within this reality experience that we call physicality here in this 3D world. So you you can move past it at the point of death when you leave your physical body here, but you have to already know, have made that decision ahead of time, and you have to accept that as a knowing, not a belief. So let go of your attachments, let go of your fears, regrets, let go of the concept of sins and karmas that you have to come back because you owe a debt or something, and you will be able to move on through at that point. So, anyway, just a quick recap. As I said, the thing that everyone experiences with the Newton and the Canon, a lot of that stuff is simply default programming within ourselves. So you can move beyond that simply by changing the programs, as I said before. When you attach to your consciousness, which is the connection to your subconscious, and you start bringing in the information from your subconscious through your conscious to program the ego mind and the brain. Once you start doing that, you'll be able to move beyond these programs and get out of them. Thank you.